Today, with my signature, I give you our word that Canada's efforts will not cease. These actions
Justin Trudeau signs on to the Paris Climate Treaty in New York.
These investments simply to be nice.
U.S. President Barack Obama meets Queen Elizabeth II for a private lunch at Windsor Castle. Tributes for Prince are pouring in from around the world after his sudden death. Hi, and welcome to Humber News. I'm Jessica Dempsey, coming to you from our newsroom here at Humber College North Campus. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has added his name to the Paris Climate Agreement. He began his day with a visit to UN headquarters in New York. The Prime Minister spent his Earth Day addressing the UN General Assembly. Trudeau stressed the importance of investing in clean technology. He says investing is the right thing to do, but also is a tremendous business opportunity.
Climate change will test our intelligence, our compassion, and our will. But we are all equal to that challenge.
The NDP have been critical of Trudeau, saying he went to the Paris signing with no plan. The Liberal government says it will have the climate plan in place by this fall. Usually for someone's birthday, we send a card or write on their Facebook wall. But U.S. President Barack Obama has flown to London for a private lunch with the Queen. Both Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip greeted the President and First Lady Michelle Obama on the lawn at Windsor Castle today. They shook hands before heading to an SUV driven by none other than Prince Philip himself. The lunch comes just one day after Queen Elizabeth's 90th birthday celebration. They took a few photos before heading out for a private lunch together. The Obamas will also be dining tonight with Prince William, the Duchess of Cambridge, Kate Middleton, and Prince Harry. Fans across the world are still grieving the loss of the legendary musician Prince, who died yesterday. When news broke of the 57-year-old star's sudden death, fans took to the streets to remember him. The party went well into the night in his hometown. Thousands of fans dedicated the night to the star, prompting spontaneous concerts and parties for Prince, one of the highest-selling artists in history. Prince was found unresponsive in an elevator where emergency crews tried to revive him yesterday morning. A coroner is conducting an autopsy to determine the cause of death. Results are expected this afternoon. As Toronto mourns the death of Prince, we take a look at the impact he left on the city. Our reporter, Natalia Vega, has the story.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to get through this thing called life.
Prince's sudden death has sparked the revival of his 60s, 70s, and 80s soul music. But it wasn't just Toronto that loved Prince, he loved the city too. The musician would often visit Toronto, making stops at Raptors games and jumping in as a DJ at clubs. He even had a brief marriage to Torontonian Manuela Testolini and bought a house in the bridle path. The legacy Prince left behind didn't just leave an impact in the music world, but on Toronto locals as well.
I know my parents are probably more shocked than what I am, right? Because it's not my generation type of thing. I've heard that he's absolutely loved Toronto and he loved being here. He loved the city. He loved going to random little thrift stores and whatnot and stuff. So I mean, it truly brings out that smaller community.
He was here recently, less than 30 days ago. He actually did a mini concert here.
It was just last month when Prince performed 2 shows at the Sony Center for the Performing Arts. He performed one of the shows solo and the other with the band.
It's rejoiced because they got to see him one last time for the people who did get to see him, but at the same time they're like, wow, that was the last time, and people probably weren't thinking this is the last time I'm ever going to see Prince live, right? So it leaves people hurt.
This is what it sounds like when the girls cry. Everybody.
Even though Prince died young, his music will live on. Natalia Vega, Humber News. It's Earth Day, and Humber College made a surprise announcement today. Our reporter, Katie Jones, was there and has the details.
Surprise! Humber College has been named one of Canada's greenest employers for 2016. Thanks to a number of green initiatives, Humber has been recognized for its environmental footprint. Humber President Chris Whitaker was the first to congratulate his colleagues on the tremendous achievement.
So I'm delighted. It's taken a lot of hard work from many people in the organization to produce this wonderful result, and it's great to be recognized.
The award is handed out each year on Earth Day and recognizes achievement in sustainability.
Every small or not so small thing that you each are doing is making the difference, and it's getting noticed.
But does Humber Sustainability Manager Lindsay Walker think we can do more?
I mean, I think there's always more we can do. Even myself, there's some days I can't make my own lunch. I have to buy something at Humber, which means that I create waste. And I know I'm doing it, but it's just not possible. So, next year I can do one less meal a week.
With only a few more days left in the school year, Humber is finishing on a green note, being recognized for such a prestigious award. Katie Jones, Humber News.
A woman has been hospitalized after being struck in the face with an axe in North York last night. Our reporter, Veronica Appia, went to the scene and has the details.
A young male has been arrested after a woman was stabbed in the face with an axe late Thursday night. The stabbing occurred at this building on Finch Avenue near Bathurst Street around 11 p.m. Toronto police arrived on the scene and set up a perimeter, and eventually the male was arrested. It is not yet clear what charges he will face. Toronto police have wrapped up the scene here this morning. The woman was taken to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries, and a 16-year-old man has been arrested in connection with the stabbing. Veronica Appia, Humber News.
To Ottawa now, where Senator Mike Duffy is a free man today after being exonerated on all 31 charges against him. Charged with fraud, breach of trust, and bribery, the senator is now free to return to work. The judge, who read from a 300-page verdict, acquitted Duffy and slammed the Harper administration. Duffy had pleaded to not guilty to charges of fraud, ranging from a trip to buy a puppy at a dog show, flying to see friends, and handing a volunteer $500. He has been convicted. Had he been convicted, rather, he could have faced up to 14 years in prison. A giant fire has engulfed a warehouse in Illinois. Fire crews are still fighting a huge blaze at a furniture warehouse about 40 kilometers from Chicago. Officials say the fire broke out at the building around 6 p.m. local time. It was reported by local media that at least 8 fire departments from surrounding areas were trying to contain the fire. The cause of the fire is still unknown. 500 firefighters and nearly 100 fire trucks are battling a fire in a chemical warehouse in China. The warehouse contained chemicals which are creating heavy black smoke. Chemicals kept in the warehouse include methanol and mixed aromatics. Flames have been spotted up to 10 meters in the air. Firefighters and residents have been building sandbag walls to isolate the flames. There have been no reports of casualties. In other news, Japan has just unveiled its first stealth fighter jet, the X-2. The plane made its first flight this morning as part of Japan's efforts to bolster air superiority over China. China's development of stealth jets has been fueling Tokyo's push for a new fighter plane. Also, Japan wants to ensure it can defend the airspace over the mainland and its territories. The mines planted by the Islamic State in the ancient Syrian city of Palmyra have been cleared by Russian troops. Nearly 3,000 explosive devices planted in the World Heritage Site have been defused. The Russians began the demining process early this month with the help of robots and specially trained dogs. Before it was captured by ISIS in May 2015, the city was home to about 70,000 people. At least 2 people have been killed after a bike track collapsed in Rio de Janeiro. The track was built for the country's Olympic Games this summer. Officials say a wave crashed onto the cycling track yesterday, causing a 50-meter stretch to collapse. Five people were on it at the time. It cost the city nearly $13 million. Rescue efforts are underway following a landslide in India. Local media are reporting Tuesday's landslide killed at least 16 construction workers. Reports say they were buried inside their house. Search and rescue crews have started digging for more workers who might be trapped under the mud. Authorities say the landslide was triggered by heavy rain in the region. Thousands of Hindu holy men took a dip in the Shipra River to mark the beginning of the month-long Pitcher Festival in India. Hindu men covered in ashes were the first to take a dip in the river, followed by devotees who gathered from across the country. Hindus say bathing in the holy rivers wash away their sins and grant salvation from the cycle of life and death. The festival is rooted in a Hindu tradition that says Hindu god Vishnu obtained a golden pot containing the nectar of immortality after battling demons for 12 days. When we come back, we'll tell you what's happening in the world of sports, and Christiana Chan will have your 3-day forecast.
It's a bit cloudy outside, but it is the last day of school, so who's complaining? I'll have your full 3-day forecast after the break.
April 23rd will mark a very special day in Hamlet's Elsinore Castle in Denmark. The Kronborg Castle, or as some call it, the Hamlet Castle, will be filling up with Shakespeare fans this weekend to mark the 400th anniversary of the writer's death. Theatrical and musical performances will take place, as well as dinners and Renaissance walks. No one has spent a night in the castle for over 100 years, until now.
I'm so glad I took, an afternoon to write a little thing about how much I love Shakespeare, because Shakespeare has been my life.
These students won a contest to spend the night in the King's Tower of the castle. Hundreds tried for a shot at the prize, but the two girls are the only ones to get the full castle experience. For now, we leave you with this. Religion and technology have come together in China to make the world's first religious robot. A remote Buddhist temple created a tiny robot monk in hopes of gaining followers. The creator of the monk says it's the perfect way to spread Buddhist teachings. Standing at 2 feet tall, the monk can answer questions on Buddhism and hold simple conversations. He was developed in partnership between a technology company and experts from Chinese universities. The monk rarely makes public appearances at the temple, spending most of its days meditating on a shelf.